flag, yeah. If there's any trouble, I'll answer that.
Good morning. May I have your attention, please? Being 9 o'clock and needing no quorum, I ask you to find your seats so we can start this annual town meeting on Saturday, June 20th, 2020. Is there a flag to salute? There's a flag over there. Before we get started, let's salute the flag over here to my left. I pledge of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I know. Okay. Everyone in the football field and the bleachers should have the motion sheets, which are cherry red. Okay. And which will give a more detailed explanation of the articles, as well as a Selectmen, Finance Committee, Planning Board, Board of Health, as these are available to you near the registration tables. I am Susan McNeil Spooler. I'm the moderator of town meeting. It gives me great honor to convene on this annual town meeting of the town of Westford, Massachusetts, in the United States of America, as we have been meeting since March 2nd, 1730. That's longer than our country has existed. I would like to thank Shankar Heddy and Patricia Polachowski for serving on the Finance Committee. Important notes: bathrooms. There's bathrooms in the back. There's porta-johns in the back that are green. And if you want to go inside, go into the cafeteria by the granite blocks. Okay. If you wish to address town meeting any time, I ask you to approach one of the various heights microphones. There's medium height ones here. There's ones for people that are my height, 5'2", on my left, and then for taller folks like Dean O'Donnell that are about 6'2", off to my right. It doesn't matter if you oppose or in favor, go to any microphone that's close to you. If you would wish to address town meeting, okay, tell us your name and where you live. Please address all questions to me, the moderator, and I'll find the best person to answer your query. When you were registered, you received a card, an orange voting card. So we don't spread germs with our voting voices, I ask you to raise your hand holding your orange voting card when I ask if you are in favor of a vote. When I let you know that I've seen all of your cards, please lower your hand. When I ask who is opposed, please raise your orange voting card and keep them up until I let you know that I have seen all of your cards. While you are seated, you are 10 feet away from the person next to you, front to back, side to side. You may take off your face mask. If you get up to speak to the microphone, I ask that you put your mask back on. Please do not touch the microphones. Andrea? Andrea Perna-Sweet, Chair of the Select Board, has a statement for town meeting.
Thank you. First of all, good morning, everybody. Thank you for attending this unprecedented and unconventional town meeting this morning. I expect that years from now, when people are reading about the history of Westford, they'll read about this and look back on this. I would also like to extend a huge thank you to our town manager, Jody Ross, our town staff, and all of our volunteers who have worked so hard to set this up today and to think of, I think, everything and every possible condition or situation that we might have to face today. So first of all, I'd ask you all to give them a hand of applause. What I'd like to do now is to read a statement from the Westford Select Board, our town manager, our chief of police, our fire chief, our school committee, and our school superintendent. The Westford Select Board, Town Manager Jody Ross, Police Chief Tom McEnany, Deputy Police Chief Mark Chambers, Fire Chief Joe Targ, Westford School Committee, and Superintendent Bill Olson condemn the actions of the Minneapolis police officers, which resulted in the death of George Floyd. We wish to take appropriate steps to share current policy and engage in a broad community discussion in this important area. We are deeply troubled at witnessing the atrocious acts of those officers involved in George Floyd's death. We continue to work hard to make Westford a welcoming place of inclusion and safety, and this work remains the highest priority and should reflect who we are as a community. The actions of the police officers involved in the death of George Floyd do not reflect the value we place on human life in the town of Westford. As public servants, it is our responsibility to continue to speak out against discrimination, racism, xenophobia, bullying, and hatred. It is our responsibility to foster a community that is inclusive and anti-racist, where all voices are heard, protected, and respected. Being anti-racist goes beyond the absence of overt acts of racism and discrimination. Anti-racism requires that we actively recognize and change the ways in which our system and structures, our policies and practices, our attitudes and our history have harmed and continue to harm our neighbors, friends, and families. The methods used by police in Minneapolis that killed George Floyd are not part of any police training program in Massachusetts, including those used by the members of the Westford Police Department. The Westford Police Department believes in treating all, including those accused of committing a crime, fairly and with dignity. Officers are trained only to use the amount of force necessary to ensure safety for the suspect, the officers, and the civilians in the area. Additionally, the Westford Police Department has long been at the forefront of progressively training its officers. This includes extensive training in crisis intervention management, mental health awareness, de-escalation procedures, supervisory practices, and professional standards. The Westford Police Department is an accredited agency with the Massachusetts Police Accreditation Commission and has adopted program standards that are considered best practices administratively and operationally. The department also continuously evaluates the standards to which it holds itself accountable and is committed to achieving excellence in community policing. Westford Fire Rescue EMS shares the values of Westford Police and together are representative of a collective effort to provide all public safety services in a fair and equitable manner. Westford Fire Rescue EMS continues to review its training and culture regarding diversity and inclusion, as well as the effectiveness of that training. We understand that our community members of color experience racism in Westford. As we have heard at recent rallies, protests, and community conversations, incidents of racism have occurred and continue to occur in Westford, in our neighborhoods, in our public spaces.
Can we check the microphones, please?
And in our schools and on our school buses, and in routine actions throughout our town. Eliminating racism, xenophobia, bullying, and hatred will take conversation, education, and training, and community institutions. Westford schools recognize the critical role the schools play in combating racism, xenophobia, bullying, and hatred, and are committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion for all students and staff. We recognize that change is not the responsibility of one person or one group. Change is systemic, and it requires recognizing and acknowledging the areas of needed improvement and collectively working to address them. As a school system, we are committed to addressing racism, diversity, and inclusion through our policies and practices, our curriculum, and our professional development. Together, all of us are committed to releasing a summary of key Westford police policies and training related to use of force, de-escalation, and other relevant areas, releasing a description of data related to race in Westford police interactions with the public, explanation of how this data is reviewed, and the retraining or other actions taken if patterns that may suggest racial bias are observed. Developing a proposal for ongoing community engagement with the Westford Police to ensure we are engaging in best practices in this critical area. Engaging town leadership in a broader community conversation currently planned for July 7th. It will be a virtual meeting, and I urge all of you to attend. And establishing a confidential method for community members to report incidents that may involve racism, xenophobia, bullying, hatred, or other forms of discrimination. Providing a description of the Westford School Department's policies and training plans for diversity, equity, and inclusion for the 2020-2021 school year. And concerns. We always condemn the words and actions that drive us apart as a community. We look forward to beginning the work that continues to build public trust and draws us closer as a community, emphasizing and prioritizing acceptance and equitable treatment for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. If you have any question at any time, go to a comfortable height microphone and say, Madam Moderator, I have a question. That's the part of parliamentary law that you need to know at this time. And I will ask for a motion to accept the wording for the motions as printed on your pink sheets. Do I have a second? All those in favor, raise your orange card. Okay. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Town meeting is where we come together in a civil assembly as a community and tradition that's older than the Commonwealth itself. Here are the rules that I look forward to everyone following. All debate will be conducted in a respectful and courteous manner and a calm and collected tone. All questions and comments will be directed to the moderator and limited to the subject being debated. No comments of a personal nature are allowed. In keeping with Westford town meeting tradition, no applause or other responses for any debater is allowed. If you have any amendments, please text them to me at 978-496-8599, as we don't have a board here or a screen to show them, and we will deal with them accordingly. Motion for town employees, non-residents. Before we get into the financial discussions, we have members on the floor who are not voters from Westford, town council, assistant town manager, various department heads. And for them to be able to address the meeting, our bylaws state that we need a 2/3 majority vote for this. So it asks for a motion to allow all staff who are non-voters of the town, as well as town council and consultants by the town, hired by the town of Westford, to sit with their respective committees and be able to address this meeting. May I have that motion? Is there a second? Okay. All those in favor, please raise your cards. Okay, please lower your cards. All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. We have a comfort, just for other information, we have a comfort tent over to my left. It's dark blue in color. If you need water or sunscreen or bug spray, or if you need shade, there's tents along the edge of the field here. If you don't feel well, please let someone know. We have an ambulance here. When the meeting is adjourned, I ask that all of you file out to my right and go through the gate right behind us. And please do not congregate in the parking lot. The Gordon Seavey Award will be given out at approximately 10 a.m. Are there any questions about protocol procedure? No one's coming up to the microphones? Okay. This may take a little longer for people to get to the microphones. Okay, hearing none, we move along. Andrea, please.
Good morning again. So I would like to move that this town meeting take Articles 12, 13, 14, 15, and 18 out of order to be voted in a single motion before Article 1.
All those in favor, please raise your orange cards. Thank you. All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Oh, I'm so okay. Not unanimously. Passes with majority.
Okay. We are asking that we take 12, 13, 14, 15, and 18 out of order because these are all citizen petition articles that were on the warrant at our March town meeting. The select board has reached out to each of the petitioners, and we have spoken with them, and the select board has agreed that each of the articles, with the exception of Article 12, will be returned to our town meeting in the fall, and that the petitioners will not be required to obtain any additional signatures at that time. With respect to Article 12, the petitioner has asked that article be withdrawn permanently. So I believe, Madam Moderator, that the motion now is to vote to dismiss 12, 13, 14 at this point in time, with the understanding that 13, 14, 15, and 18 will be brought back to fall town meeting, and 12 dismissed permanently.
Yes, and that they will be definitely postponed. Okay. Is there a second? Okay. All those in favor, please raise your orange cards. Okay, put them down. All opposed? Motion, one is, okay, motion passes there's one in the back, so it was majority. Okay. Okay, town meeting is like a pregnancy. It's going to last as long as it's going to last. However, in light of our health and safety, we're going to be going through our articles as expeditiously as possible. With that being said, next we will vote on the consent agenda. The selectmen voted to have articles on the consent agendas 1, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 16, and 17. Sure. Articles 1, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 16, and 17. A consent agenda is a grouping of routine articles or business that we normally vote on and aren't challenged in any way. We are voting on a consent agenda to save time. These are housekeeping and non-controversial articles most communities group together for efficiency. Anyone can be taken off the consent agenda and considered separately. Is there any objection? Seeing none, is there a motion? Any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, we will move to the vote. I heard a second. Oh, okay, there's a second. Thank you. Okay, Article 10 requires a 2/3 vote, which will require that quantum in order for all the articles to pass. Okay, but anyone? Okay. Okay, first of all, we're going to vote on the grouping. Articles 1, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 16, and 17. All those in favor of the consent agenda? Raise your card. Okay. Okay, put your cards down. All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. I'm going to go through each article, state the name, and if there's any questions. First is Article 1. Article 1 is to accept town reports. Okay. I'm going to take a vote on it. Okay. Okay. All right. Next is Article 6. Appropriate for perchlorate expenses. Beg your pardon? Article 2, we're going through the consent agenda. Articles 2 is not on the consent agenda. Yeah.
And if people want to discuss, they can say hold.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to read through all of the items on the consent agenda. If anyone has any questions, I will then. You can say hold. Okay. Okay, Article 1, accept town reports. Okay. Article 6, appropriate for perchlorate expenses. Article 7, authorize revolving funds. Okay, I got that. Okay. Article 9, appropriate Chapter 90 local transportation funds for roadway maintenance. Article 10, appropriate funds for water enterprise, other post-employment benefits stabilization fund to the water enterprise budget. Article 11, authorize the Board of Selectmen to accept easements. Article 16, revise the general bylaws to merge the Affordable Housing Committee and Affordable Housing Trust into one committee. Article 17, accept Jenny Richards Road as a public way. Is there a question at a microphone? Someone's going to standing in the, okay. All those in favor of the articles in the consent agenda, raise your orange card. Okay, I can see. All opposed, please raise your card. The motion passes majority. Thank you. Oh, 2/3 majority, because there was opposition. Okay. We moved on to Article 2. Okay. Article 2, amend the wage and classification plan. Do I have a motion for that? Do I have a second? Okay. Any discussion? Any discussion? No. No. Okay. Does someone want to discuss it? Is someone going to get up? Okay. Up here for those people, okay. Okay, hearing no discussion, we'll take the vote. All those in favor of Article 2, please raise your orange card. This takes majority vote. Okay, please put your cards down. All opposed, Article 2? Okay, motion passes unanimously. No? No? Okay, you're way down on the ground. Okay, there we go. Motion passes majority. Thank you. Okay, Article 3, approve capital appropriations. I will read through each line item. First of all, do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Thank you. Any discussion? No, okay, now I'm going to read through and do the holds. Okay. Technology, $25,000. The next three of them are technology. Next is $162,800. Third technology, $150,000. Police department, $166,892. Fire department, $385,000. Hold. Okay. Schools, $20,000. And the second one for the schools is $37,500. And on the next page, we have schools, $30,000. Schools, again, $10,521. And further, I'll read down to Main Street reconstruction, $3,731.84. Plain Road sidewalk construction, $8,122.15. Keyes Road, $121,678.01. And then schools, $133,532. I will take a vote now on all the non-held line items. All those in favor, raise your card. Okay, thank you. Put your cards down. All opposed, please raise your orange card. Opposed? Okay. Motion passes majority. Now we'll go back to the person who held on the fire department's $385,000. Please get up and ask your question, please.
Madam Moderator, I have a question. Mike Millay, 15 Tallard Road. Would love some background about the request and what the fire department is currently doing if they don't have this kind of equipment.
Is the chief here? Fire Chief Targ will answer that for you. Sure. No spitting.
We currently have Scott packs that were purchased 2007. The useful life of them, the balls cannot be used anymore after 15 years, so they're on the last cycle, so they'd all have to be replaced. The maintenance of them, cost grows every year, so we're up for replacement. We evaluate 3 different brands. We're probably going to go with the MSA brand, which is a newer technology, but we've had them. We replace them probably every 15, 20 years. Yep.
Thank you, Chief. Any other questions? Okay. We will now vote on the $385,000 amount for the fire department. All those in favor, please raise your orange card. Okay, I see you all. Thank you. All opposed, raise your orange card. Motion passes unanimously. Okay. Okay, now we'll go on to the second motion. Okay, now I ask for motion for the second motion. We need a two-thirds majority. Now, do I have a second? Okay. That the town, any discussion? Okay. That the town appropriate the sum of $570,000 for the purpose of replacing the exterior access for the public schools. Okay. We'll take the vote now. All those in favor, please raise your orange card. Okay, put your cards down. All opposed? I've got no's, okay. The motion passes by 2/3. The third motion. Do I have a motion under the third motion? Second? Any discussion? Oh, someone's come up to the microphone. Hi. There we go.
Emily Taylor, 9 Texas Road. I just have two clarifying questions. When it says radios, is it two-way radios and also school staff? Does that mean teachers as well?
Let's see. Bill will get up and answer that question for you.
Good morning, Emily, and good morning, everyone. Those are two-way radios, Emily. They will allow direct contact with public safety officials, both police and fire, from anywhere in our school buildings. We presently don't have that capability, and what we'd like to be able to do is have a variety of staff strategically selected throughout our buildings be able to contact public safety authorities if there's an emergency event in one of our school buildings.
Does that answer your question, Emily?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Okay. Okay, we will now, seeing no other questions, we'll now take the vote on the third motion. We need a 2/3 majority. All those in favor, please raise your orange cards. Okay, thank you. I can put them down. All opposed? Okay, motion passes with a 2/3. Okay, the fourth motion. Do I have a motion under the fourth motion? Do I have a second? Second, thank you. Any discussion? This is the town appropriate the sum of $1,830,000 for the purpose of replacing the Kershey Circle, Douglas Road, and Andrews Lane water main. Any discussion? Hearing none, we will take the vote. All those in favor, raise your orange card. Okay, put your cards down, please. All opposed? Okay, motion does pass with 2/3 majority. Okay, thank you. Okay. On to Article 4.
Madam Moderator?
Yes.
Madam Moderator.
Thank you.
I'd like to move, am I standing? I'd like to move Article 8 out of order, please. Well, I'm Judy Culver, 34 Stone Ridge Road.
Okay, we have voted that would like to move Article 8 out of order. Is there a second? Did I hear a second? Okay. All those in favor, this takes a majority vote. All those in favor of moving out of order? What? Why? Okay, why would you like to move this out of order?
It's a lengthy article. It's very important to the town to have money for next year, and I don't want us going home too early not to pass this.
You don't want us going home too early?
Too late, excuse me.
Too late. Okay. Okay. All right, all those in favor of moving Article 8 out of order, raise your orange cards. Okay, all opposed? Motion fails. Well, bless you. Moving on to Article 4. Appropriate for sale of cemetery lots, receipts reserved for cemetery improvements. Bless you. This takes a majority vote. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Thank you. Any discussion? Oh, Jody, want to get up and say something?
Good morning, everybody.
Put the microphone on. We can't hear you. Jody's microphone's not on, please.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning, everyone. I just think we misstated. You may take your mask off when you're speaking at a mic. Just don't touch the mic, so it'd be easier to hear you that way. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody. Where were we? The cemetery. Is there any discussion on the cemetery for Article 4? This requires a majority vote. All those in favor of Article 4, please raise your card. Okay, I see everyone. All opposed, please raise your card. Okay, motion passes by a majority. Okay, Article 5. This is to approve Community Preservation Committee recommendations. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Okay. Deanne O'Donnell, I believe, someone was going to get up and describe or talk about community preservation. Tootie, is she here? Is Tootie here? Thank you. So what I'd like you to do is just kind of explain how community preservation funds work, please. Thank you. People had questions.
For those who are not unfamiliar with the Community Preservation Act, it is a law that requires that each year the committee gets together, we hold a needs assessment hearing whereby people come and speak about what they think are priorities to spend the funds. The funds from the Community Preservation Act come from a voluntary tax that we've agreed to, and then it's matched by the state. They can be used for no other purposes than the purposes in the law, which are for open space, affordable housing, historic preservation, and recreation. So then the committee gets together. Anyone is allowed to submit an application for the funds. We then evaluate the application, see what kind of funding we have. We never spend money ahead. We only spend money that we have in the bank. These funds can be used for no other purpose and can't be transferred anywhere else. Any other?
I appreciate that. Does anybody have any other questions that Tootie can answer for us? Please approach the microphone. Someone's coming up.
Okay.
Hi, Leon Calitri, 32 Heather Drive. I'm interested in the $750,000 for the 8 tennis courts.
We haven't gotten to that yet. We haven't read through. If you just have questions at this point.
Okay, that's the only question I had.
Okay, we can address that. Thank you.
Paul Fossbender, 14 Texas Road. One of your comments sort of surprised me. You said we only spend money that we have in the budget, but it looks like in the past we've spent money that we're paying for in the future, and we're being asked today to allocate money that it looks like we're going to be paying for quite a while.
Well, if we were bonding something, that's true, but otherwise all the money is already accounted for at the end.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so now, I will read through the line items, and if you have a question on any of the line items, this is where you raise your hand and say hold, and then we will address your questions after we take the vote. Okay. Funds for the sum of this is first just the overall. Funds for the sum of $1,221,023 for the purposes set forth. I'll go line item, okay. First line, $190,000 for undersigned fund balance. Second line, $17,960 for the VFW baseball field. That's a hold? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, $40,000 for the VFW skate park equipment. Another hold. Okay. For $111,500 for undesignated fund balance for the Ronan McElliott Playground. Hold. Okay. $97,150 from undersigned fund balance for the Healthy Lakes and Ponds program. Any holds on that? No. Okay. $14,413 from Historic Resources Fund balance for the Pageant Field Stonewall restoration, and $750,000 from undersignated fund balance for the design and construction of 8 tennis courts. Hold, okay. Okay, so the first line. First, we're going to take a vote on the line items that were not held on. I think someone's coming to the microphone. Hang on a second. We're going to take the vote. Do you have a hold?
I don't. I have a general question, so I can wait if you'd like.
Okay, we're going to take the whole, okay, and take a vote on items, on line item 1, line item 5, and line item 6. All those in favor, please raise your orange card. Okay, thank you. All opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. Okay, next we have, okay, I'll take your general question first.
Megan Eckroth, 8 Timberley Lane. I apologize. I should have asked this at the beginning. Can you speak to whether there were any applications for CPA funding this year that were denied that do not appear here? Or is this everything that was applied for and comes before town meeting for a vote?
Judy, can you address that? Or, let's see. Thank you.
I don't have all my information with me, but I think there were a few small things that were related to equipment, which the law doesn't allow you to supply, to fund.
Thank you. Okay. We have held items. Would you like to, we have a voter that has asked for 4 of the items, line items to be held. Questions, please.
Ellen Hardy, 39 Main Street. My concern is the same for all, so I will not be speaking to all the holds. I will be speaking once. And I'm not speaking in opposition of these because I don't think that they are things that the town should do, but I do not think we should pay for them with community preservation money. I think they should have been under Article 3 as capital expenditures. And I pulled out my 2001 town report, which is when this body first accepted the Community Preservation Act for these purposes. And this is the report of the Community Preservation Committee, which Tootie, I think, may have chaired at that point as well. And here's what it said. CPA funds can be allocated towards open space, including the creation and preservation of recreation lands, towards historic resources, and toward community housing. I maintain items on which I put a whole of recreation lands. It's development of recreation lands. And I think that's very, very different. And the reason it makes a difference is because we want to be sure that when there is a moment that there is an extraordinary piece of open land in this town, or an area that we want to buy to make into a nutting fields kind of open space, I want to be sure the money is in the CPA fund. So for that reason, I will be voting no on each of these held items and ask the selectmen and the cabinet committee to look at these, and if the wherewithal is there, to bring them back to the October special. Thank you.
No clapping. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Yep. Mark has, one of the selectmen has something to say. Can we address the voter, please, first?
Yeah, I just want to add, I'm Bob Schaffer, 7 Blakes Hill Road. I was the chair of the CPC in the first 2 years. I just would like to add to what Ellen said and ask, do we have a town council opinion on the legality of these funds appropriated for these particular projects?
Yeah, John, please.
Madam Moderator, through you to the previous speaker, we have given that opinion, that's correct, and under the Community Preservation Act, you are allowed to appropriate money for the acquisition, creation, preservation, rehabilitation, and restoration of land for recreational use.
Thank you, Town Council. Mark Cost.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Mark Cost. I chair the Capital Planning Committee. All items, irrespective of funding that are considered capital, come through the Capital Planning Committee and get reviewed and then recommended to the Finance Committee and the select board. So every single item here, whether it's a bonded item, whether it's coming out of free cash, whether it's coming out of the CPC via CPA funds, all get reviewed and analyzed, and each of the ones that are on this motion have been reviewed and recommended by the Capital Planning Committee.
Thank you. Middle microphone, please state your name and where you live, please.
Edith Jo Kemp-Blythe, 3 Fieldstone Drive. I would like to start by echoing Ellen's sentiment and comments, and I would like to further that given the statement that was given by Westford to start this meeting, and knowing that the community preservation funds can also be allocated towards concepts like affordable housing, that we should really strongly consider what this money is being used for. Thank you.
Jody, please. Thank you.
I'd just like to clarify a few things. Quoting 2001 isn't accurate because there have been changes to the law over time. So recreation has been considered and expanded in many uses. You used to only be able to do it on things that were owned by the town. Now they're not. And also affordable housing. The way the process works, there is money in the bank, so to speak, for affordable housing projects, but we have to have a proposal and a duly analyzed application to do so. So we have given money to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund in the past. We are required each year to give 10% to those funds. So even if a project doesn't come in front of us, it is put aside for that purpose. So I would encourage more people, if you have any proposals for affordable housing, to please, watch the process and bring the project in a proposal to us, and we will certainly consider it. Over the past, we have funded a lot of affordable housing.
Thank you.
If I might, Madam Moderator, 2001 is relevant because that's what town meeting was asked to vote on. All of the changes that have been made subsequent to that have been made at the state level as their interpretation of CPA, and town meeting has never been asked whether or not we supported that, except in this kind of situation where we're asked to appropriate money. But we voted the CPA 3% tax based on what is in the 2001 town report. So I think it's very germane.
Thank you.
Paul Fossbender, Texas Road. Independent of what the law says, I would hope that town meeting has the authority to decide how we want to use these funds for Westford. And the fact that we legally can do it is one thing, but whether the town and this group wants to do it, I think, is what we're here to decide.
Thank you. Any further discussions or questions? Okay. Oh, wait, someone's coming up to the microphone.
Emily Teller, 9 Texas Road. I agree with the sentiments about affordable housing, and I think that people should work hard to make that happen in Westford. I think this is basically, we should trust the Community Preservation Committee. They vet this every year, and they bring things here that they obviously think are legal and have been asked to fund in the benefit for the town. I think all these are public places. I think the tennis courts can be used by anybody, even though they're at Robinson School. And I think we should make a commitment. Perhaps the CPA at the next town meeting could bring the changes forward for town meeting to vote, to update our vote to support what is currently in the law. But I support this now.
Thank you. Someone next behind her.
Cheryl Longton, Daniel Drive.
Thank you.
My question is this: if we capital these costs that are through the community preservation?
Do you want to get up and address that, Tony? She's shaking her head yes, but.
Yes, the state matches the funding that we voluntarily collect from all the citizens, and then they match it. The matches vary. When we first started, it was 100% match. Now it's, I don't, is it at 33? It changes anyway, but yes, it is part of it is state funds, correct.
Okay, so if we don't approve these funds, we're going to have to fully fund these costs if we want to, for example, do the tennis courts. Is that correct?
Well, that is part of the point. Is the money is already, because we're using money from previous, allotments. But it is true. The reason, the whole genesis of the CPA was to get to projects that ordinarily budget doesn't get to sometimes. They're considered sometimes sort of more of an amenity in that, if you can't afford the tennis courts, then you don't play, build them. But this gives you the opportunity to have a match of money to be able to do those things.
Okay, I will say I support.
Thank you.
This funding.
Just to address that last question one more with one other way. So the Capital Planning Committee reviews all projects. We're ambivalent to funding at the original start. So we first get through which ones we believe are worth going through. And then once we do that, we determine, along with the town manager and the school committee, which ones are going to be funded and how. To the extent that these weren't funded through the CPC, what would happen is the Capital Planning Committee would then have to get back together and reprioritize all of its other capital, because as it relates to free cash and bonding capabilities, all of that has already been utilized by the other capital that's already been approved. So if these don't get approved here, they can't by default just go and get funded somewhere else. Okay?
Thank you, Mark. Any further questions? Someone at the microphone bay in the back. Thank you.
Yeah, Mark Keys, Steeplechase Circle.
Thank you.
I agree with the initial sentiment that these funds, I think, were intended for open spaces concepts more so than being rerouted due to state participation in other areas. Quick question on the amount of dollars that we have. Does it sunset every year, or can it be reapplied to more open spaces type concepts in the future? Do we lose that money that's already appropriated?
Can you get up and up? Dan O'Donnell, head of finance, will address that. Director of Finance.
Good morning. Yes, if we appropriate that funding is now earmarked for that particular project, so we can't use those funds again unless there's a remaining balance at the end of the project that closes back to the CPA.
Okay, so at the end of the year, if we have excess funds, they can be applied to some future open spaces projects if we choose.
Sure, but somebody has to submit an application to the Community Preservation Committee in order to review that proposal and then come forward to town meeting with that funding. So
understood. Thank you.
Tootie will explain.
I just want to reiterate that by law, we have to put 10% aside for affordable housing, open space, and historic preservation every cycle. Right. Yeah, Dan just wanted me to remind people that for affordable housing, we did appropriate $1.5 million for Mickey Crocker, Helena Crocker, affordable housing at the special town meeting if you weren't there. And I did talk to Mickey, and she said, unfortunately, because of the situation, she couldn't come today. But anyway, that was just allotted for affordable housing.
Thank you. Okay, Rose.
Rose O'Donnell, Sassafras Road. I just would like to clarify a few things. This is not a matching grant kind of a thing, where if we do the tennis courts, the state will help us do tennis courts. The money that we get from the state is ours based on the 3% that we pay on our taxes every year. So when we get it from the state, as I understand it, it goes into the CPA coffers, and it stays there year after year until we spend it. And I'm fully in support that we should save that money to keep Westford open, acquire more open space, maintain the character of the town, and we will always find a way to do the skateboard parks and the tennis courts, which aren't open land or have nothing to do with the three fundamental uses of CPA funds. So it's not like the state is going to match us if we do this. We already have that money.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shivali Srivastav of 9 Robinwood Circle.
Thank you.
I'm in Tara Pramar from 402 Groton Road.
We're from the Westford Academy girls tennis team, and we would love to have 8 courts built at Robinson School because that's where we practice, and it's really close to WA. And often we don't have enough courts to practice on or play matches on, which means that we get home at like about 9 o'clock or 9:30 around because we have to take turns using the courts and wait until the matches are done. And so we would really appreciate if the 8 courts are built because right now we have 5 and they're really cracked and broken and it's really hard to play on. Thank you.
And so, as someone who's been playing for 6 years and has been playing as part of the community, both in clubs and for the team, high school team, I would really appreciate it if we could get those renovations because oftentimes our teams and the boys' teams has to go to Stony Brook in order to play because our courts are insufficient and it creates a lot more time that we have to spend, and it would be better if that we had these courts. And trust me, I know for a fact that when I used to play, I would always go to Stony Brook to practice, and those courts would be filled up because they're one of the best courts in town. If we were able to renovate these Robinson courts, then I guarantee they would be filled up at just the same pace that Stony Brook is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, please.
Chris Kuntz, Texas Road. I was under the impression that we weren't discussing the tennis courts at this time, that we were only discussing the Parks and Recreation listed items that Ellen had and
Ellen had a hold on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 7th.
I thought we were discussing the 7th later. But at any rate, in support of Ellen's comments, I know people would like to just go ahead and approve everything right now, and then someone stated for the CPC group to come back next year and talk to town meeting about changing the charter or whatever. I would suggest that we not do that, that we decide the outcome and the fate of these 3 items now, as people feel, because if you pass these 3 items now, it sets a precedent, and believe me, someone is going to bring that up that, oh golly, you know, we did it before, so we can automatically do it again. So I would urge us to vote now on those 3 items, and then I think a separate discussion on the tennis courts, because my understanding was that wasn't included.
It was, but next, please.
Mike Furman, 26 Preliminary Street, and as part of full disclosure, I'm a member of the Parks and Recreation Commission, but I'm speaking as a private citizen. I think it's important to let the town meeting know that most of these items are benefiting the youth of the town, and it would be a horrible message to send to the youth that the town meeting didn't think it was worth spending money on items that would benefit the youth and their recreation capabilities. And the other thing is that the tennis courts are the Westford Academy home tennis courts. If those become disrepaired to the point where they can't play any of their home matches there, they were playing all of their matches on the road, making it unfair competition for the rest of the high schools around the area.
Thank you.
Bob Carter, 8 Nutting Road. Can we hear from the CPC why we're considering paying for tennis courts when we just built an asphalt plant in town? Thank you.
Tootie, would you like to address that? No? Okay. Mark Cost.
Mark Cost, Chair of the Capital Planning Committee. I just wanted to address the comment about precedent. In each of the last 2 or 3 years, the CPC has provided funding for things like repaving of basketball courts and other tennis courts. So that precedent, if you will, has already been taken care of.
Thank you.
Paul Fossbender, Texas Road. As I hear the discussion, it seems to me that there are really 2 sets of issues that we're working on. If we debate the merits of each item, of course we want to spend it. A lot of these things, I think most of us would agree, should be built and should support the youth and all that other good stuff. But back to Ellen's original point, the issue she brought up is not whether we do these things, but how we pay for them. And I seem to get the feeling that the Capital Planning Committee and number of other people in the school committee are starting to look at CPC as a budget extension for other projects in town. And I really think a number of us are coming to the decision that how do we get a message back to those groups to try and spend more effort focusing on the types of community preservation we thought was originally intended by this fund.
Mark, please answer that. Maybe we should just get a chair.
So just as it relates to the Capital Planning Committee, as I mentioned before, we don't ever consider funding. Funding is not under our purview. What we do is recommend projects that are needed by the community and are have been fully vetted from project scope, bids, and quotes. It is then up to the individual funding committees to determine whether they want to do that. So regarding sending a message to the Capital Planning Committee, the Capital Planning Committee does not decide on funding. We recommend the validity of projects to the town taxpayers.
Thank you. A question?
Mike Millay, 15 Tallard Road. First of all, I wanted to commend the two women from the tennis team for showing up. It drove the average age of town meetings significantly down, and thank you for your passion in participating in democracy. So well done. Point of clarification on this football we've been kicking around, the $750,000. If approved, would it also include 8 new, I'm assuming similar to or adjunction to where the 5 are, but would the 5 also be totally renovated?
Trudy, please.
I believe the project is renovating some and then adding, I think, 4 new ones. I don't have, does someone have the plan when they presented it? Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Bill Olson, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. This project, the $750,000 would involve both the design fee and the complete reconstruction of the tennis courts. We have resurfaced them and patched them for a number of years, but through excessive heaving, they are no longer able to be used for matches, so it would be the complete reconstruction of not only 5, but adding 3 more, 8 courts in total, so that the school system could use it for varsity meets and JV meets, and also the Westford Recreation Department could make use of the courts also.
Thank you. Question?
Hi, Stephen Crane, 3 Drew Crossing. When the town voted to adopt CPA, it voted to accept the law, and there have been changes to the law over time. Most intended to make it easier for communities to make investments in recreational resources. And so I think this is a completely appropriate use of CPA funds. I think it's consistent with how that act is applied across the Commonwealth. And I think the beauty of CPA, which is really a great legislative instrument given to us by the state, is that private citizens are the first reviewer of these requests, not elected officials. So it really is decisions that are made by our friends and neighbors here. So thank you, and congratulations, CPA committee.
Thank you. Next question?
Madam Moderator,
Point of order?
I think you haven't seen me. I've been here for a while.
Oh. My apologies.
Denali Delmar, 8 Dunstable Road. I move the question.
Thank you. Okay. What we're going to do next, we're going to vote on, we have a motion. Okay, we have to vote on this. Do I have a second? All in favor, raise your card. What we are voting on is whether we move the question. What does that mean? That we stop discussion.
Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor of moving the question, which means to stop discussion, raise your card. Okay, lower your card. All those opposed? Okay, motion passes majority. Thank you. Now we're going to vote on the line items. Individually? Yes. Okay, line item 2, $17,960. It was. Oh, it was a it was two-thirds vote, and it was passed two-thirds. Thank you. Okay. Line item 2, $17,960 from undesignated fund balance for the Forge VFW baseball field. All those in favor, raise your orange card. All opposed? Okay, put your cards down. All opposed? Oh, wow, that's really close. Okay. Okay. I'm going to ask that the warden have the counters come. This was very close. All right, why don't we take the vote again? All those in favor of the $17,960, raise your cards. Okay. Those. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I look at both sides, yeah. Okay. Okay, put your cards down. All opposed? Okay. No, it's majority. Yeah. So, yeah. A motion passes with a majority. Thank you. You want to count? Okay. 7 people have to stand up. Do we have to do a hand count? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we have 8. Okay. Okay, so we asked the tellers. What we're going to do is have everyone, all those in favor, to raise your cards, and then the counters will count. And when they're done with the all in favor, and they've let me know that they're counted, then those who opposed will then raise their cards. Okay. Okay, so we have the counters coming out now. All those in favor, keep your hands up. Well, let's find it. Joe, have you stopped counting? Okay. Okay, put your hands down. Okay, thank you. So please keep your hands up. Please keep your hands up. Thank you. Your card with your orange voting card. Thank you. Okay, you can put all those in favor can put your hands down, your cards down. Okay, ready? You got it right? Okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah. That wasn't my call. There's going to have to be a second count here. No, we have to have the all opposed. We have to do the opposed. Some of the tellers are walking away. Okay, we ready for the next vote, Joe?
Now we're ready.
Okay, now all opposed, please raise your orange voting card. All opposed to the $17,960 for designated fund balance for the Forge VFW baseball field dugouts and any other related costs. Okay. Let me know. You may put your cards down, please. 153 yes, 98 no. Motion passes. Okay. We will move on. Okay, so line items 3 and 4, I would like to, unless anyone has any objections, I'd like to be able to vote on those together. The $40,000 for undesignated fund balance for the Forge Village, for Forge VFW Skate Park, and $111,500 from undesignated fund balance for the Rona McElliott Playground safety surfacing. Any objections to voting on those together?
Madam Moderator, Elisa Nakash and Holsberg, Betty Lane, I would like to vote for them separately, please.
Okay, we'll do it separately then. Okay, so next. Okay, so $40,000. Any questions regarding line item 3? Okay. Well, now we'll take the vote. $40,000 for undesignated fund balance for Forge VFW Skate Park. All those in favor, please raise your orange voting card. Okay, put your cards down. All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, next, $111,500 for undesignated fund balance for the Rona McElliott Playground safety surfacing. All those in favor, please raise your orange voting card. All opposed? Okay, passes, 111,000 passes. Now we go down to the $750,000 for the undesignated fund balance for the construction of 8 tennis courts. Okay, all those in favor, please raise your orange voting cards. All opposed? Motion passes. Now we go on to the second motion. This one takes a 2/3 majority. On page 6, that the town appropriate the sum of $1,344,152 for the Community Preservation Fund for the purpose of construction new amenities. So moved. Need a second? Any discussion?
Paul Fossbender, Texas Road. I must admit, when I first saw this, in light of Jody's State of the Town message, which I actually did read, Jody, this is costing us more than about 2.4 standard single-family houses to put together bathrooms over here. It just seems like a whole lot of money, and I want to thank Paul Fox and Ingrid Nilsson for spending some time with me on the phone, leading me through the whole process of how we got here and so forth. And if what I heard is appropriate, it feels like the town is really at the mercy of state regulations and a bunch of other things that are causing us to spend what I consider to be a ridiculous amount of money. And I hope that our town officials are putting some pressure on our state legislatures and so forth to try and cut some of this fat out of the amount that we taxpayers are being expected to cough up. And I will say that those 2 phone calls yesterday probably saved us half an hour today. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Okay. Nope. No clapping. Jill. Okay. It's another question?
Chris Klintz, Texas Road. Someone from the CPC came up earlier and said that the CPC funds were spending money that we currently had. But the way this particular motion reads, I read it that we are authorizing the CPC or the town to borrow said amount under the law and to issue bonds or notes in the town and so forth. So that to me says we're committing future funds or revenue that we don't currently have. I wouldn't support that. I'd support spending existing funds in the account, but not going into future years.
Thank you. Anybody else at any of the microphones? Okay. All right. We'll now take the vote on the $1,344,152. All those in favor, please raise your orange cards. All opposed? This takes a 2/3. Okay. Motion fails. We need a 2/3, and this does not have a 2/3. Okay. You want to count? You need 7 people to stand up for a count. This needed a 2/3 majority, and there was not a 2/3. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 8 people. Okay. Okay. Joe, the warden, can you please have your tellers come out and do a count, please?
Madam Moderator, point of order.
Point of order. What's your point of order, please?
Well, just that this is James Antonelli, principal of Westford Academy and also a resident of the community. This is a compliance issue for the school system and for this beautiful track and field. So we are currently out of compliance. I just want the audience to know that.
Thank you. Joe, Tootie?
I just want to clarify about the bonding and the funding, which is that every year when it's bonded, the money comes out of the CPA money. It doesn't, you're not bound by to come out of any other pot of money.
Paul Fossbender, Texas Road. I appreciate that this is a compliance. Most of us are objecting to is the way we're paying for it, and we should find other sources.
Okay. Okay. Yes? Point of order, yes. Your point of order is yes, we cannot, that's correct. Okay, now we're going to do the count. We would now do the count. All those in favor of the $1,344,152 on Article 5, please raise your orange card. Okay, put your hands down. Now, those who oppose the article.
Madam Moderator, point of order. It's difficult to tell with the...
Wait, you have to wait until they finish counting. We're counting. We are counting. You may put your cards down.
My question is related to the counting. So I ask that you not announce the count until I've asked my question.
It says favor on one side.
In favor was 115, opposed was 112. So that means that the motion did not pass because it needed a 2/3 majority. Elizabeth?
I have a question about the count. Can I please ask my question?
Okay, what's your question about the count? Your name and address, please?
Greg Flom, 3 Quarry Hill Road.
What's your name?
Greg Flom, 3 Quarry Hill Road.
Thank you.
Could the tellers please confirm that someone counted the single seats one in from the aisle? I haven't seen a teller look my way. They very well may have. I just would like confirmation.
Joe, can you make, he's asking if you've counted all the single seats along the edges.
Joe Roy Warden, yes, we did.
Thank you. Elizabeth, please.
Madam Moderator, I'd like to make a motion to reconsider that item. We learned new information that I think the voters needed to hear. I don't think voters had complete information that had changed people's minds between the counts.
If you're asking for a reconsideration, if you were on the winning side, which was the
Yes, I was on the winning side.
Okay. That was the no vote.
Madam Moderator?
Yes.
I would like to second that motion, and I apologize for not providing the town meeting floor with some additional information. I should have stepped forward a little bit earlier. If given the opportunity, I'd like to share a little bit more information about the use of the amenities building.
First, we have a motion and we have a second. Now we vote on the reconsideration. And reconsideration is debatable. So there's any questions? Are there any questions on a reconsideration vote? So if we reconsider, okay, someone's coming up to the microphone. Why do you move to, also, we also want the person to say why they want to move to reconsider. Well, she did say that there was new information, and that's a valid point. Yes, please, at the microphone.
I think this is relevant to the vote.
Your name and address, please.
Emily Teller, 9 Texas Road. I think this is relevant to the reconsideration vote. I'm also very confused about the bonding versus money that's in there, and I think that wasn't explained sufficiently for me to understand voting on this.
Okay, thank you. Let's see who can. Any more discussion about the reconsideration of this vote? Okay. I need a majority vote. When someone has a question that says point of order?
Mike Furman, 26 Palermo Street. Mr. Antonelli mentioned this is a compliance issue. Can we find out what the penalty is if we're out of compliance? I think the town should know what that is.
So you don't have a point of order. We're voting.
You said it was part of, I could talk about discussion about reconsideration. I think the reconsideration is important to know what does out of compliance mean to the town.
One moment, please. Town council's conferring.
Yep.
Does anyone want to still debate reconsideration?
Madam Moderator?
Yes.
George Murray, 14 Haywood Road. I rise to a point of personal privilege. I always wanted to say that.
Okay, there you go.
When it's necessary to take a counted vote, could you do it by asking people to stand in place and then sit down and then count the opposed? It's a long way up and down this football field, and it's a long time to sit there with your hand up in the air. Thank you.
Thank you. We can do that.
I have a point of order question, Paul Fossbender. Is it appropriate to consider to make a motion for reconsideration within minutes after a vote has been counted?
Yes, because new information was given to the voters. Elizabeth, would you like to get up and address that? What information that you gleaned from this? Thank you, Elizabeth Almeida.
The new information that was presented was that this is a compliance issue, and that was not obvious in the discussion that during the debate before the vote.
Thank you.
Admiral, are we going to find out what the out of compliance penalty is? I mean, I think that's really important to know.
What the penalty, you'd like to know what the penalty? Paul, you going to take this?
If these people are standing in line.
I know.
I just wanted to point out that the compliance issue was in the CPA application that was filed before the March town meeting. It's been on the table since the very beginning, and I think the voters should have known about that.
Thank you. We're going to take a vote now. This is whether or not we're going to reconsider. And if the answer is yes, then the main motion is debatable again. Okay? All those in favor of reconsideration, raise your card. This needs a majority vote. Okay, put them down, please. All opposed? Okay, it's a majority, and the majority passes. Any further discussion on the main motion?
They want to know if it passed or not.
It passed. Yes, the reconsideration passed. That means we're now going back to the main motion. And now we can have a discussion. And where's Henry? You want to come up to the microphone? Okay, first of all, I'm going to have Henry Fontaine.
Good morning, everybody. Henry Fontaine, Building Commissioner. The current bathroom status for the building, for the assembly that's required for the seating capacity here, calls for 42 bathrooms. We have, with the plumbing code, a variance in place for them to give us 21. As it is right now, they could shut us down. That building could shut down.
Can I ask a clarifying question, Henry, which means this facility wouldn't be able to host perhaps a graduation, sporting events, football games, soccer games. We would put a lock on the door that, and I must add in that, you know, during this pandemic, this track and field was used daily by our community. And I'd like to add in that this amenities building would be open to the public at all times and monitored by Westford Academy custodial staff. There's one single bathroom, multi-sex use for the school, for the entire community. So this is a community field, which has been funded by CPC before to get the turf field, also by the Westford Academy trustees, and this track that helped with people with their sanity as we've been going through the pandemic over this last 3 months. So I just want people to know that facility will be open, will be maintained by Westford Academy, and able to use. And the folks sitting in the audience today being asked to use porta potties. We don't open the school during events. You know, the school gets locked in the afternoons, and using porta potty is just not appropriate for anybody to have to do that. So, thank you.
No, unfortunately, you're right with that. As it is right now, they could possibly shut us down.
Thank you, Henry. All questions to me. Thank you. A question?
Yeah, Madam Moderator, Tom Mahana, 4 Butterfield Lane, Chairman of the Permanent Town Building Committee. I'd just like to add, in addition to what Mr. Fontaine and Mr. Antonelli also stated, that this particular building, this project, is a continuation of several phases of the master plan that was developed for this complex. When the field and the home stands were replaced, it was a requirement that these bathrooms had to be added because of the seating capacity here, you know, as part of the improvements project. And we basically were allowed to continue to use this facility without the bathrooms in place, with the understanding that this amenity building with these additional bathrooms would get built within the short term after that the original stands were built. Because of, by code, the bathrooms that are in the high school do not meet the plumbing code requirements for this complex. So it's important to understand that as Mr. Fontaine mentioned, we got a waiver to reduce the amount of bathrooms needed for this project. And also, the building itself is bare bones. It's not insulated. We tried to develop a project that would be the least cost impact to the town, so that this facility would be available during the large events, that typically during the football season and in the spring, but it would not need to be maintained during the winter months. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. I have a question way in the back.
Yes, Eric Hittner, 14 Villageview Road. I admit I am totally puzzled about how this is to be funded. This is a CPC article. We are told that, I believe we are being told that the town will borrow more than $1 million and deposit that with the CPC fund, and that at regular intervals, this fund will be used to pay for these bonds. Am I understanding this correctly?
Dan O'Donnell will address that. I see that there are people on the sides that have questions. I'm recognizing you in a moment, please.
So with regard to debt for CPA, this is not something new. Currently, we have 3 projects that have been borrowed already. It's the Road and Bush, it's the Town Hall renovation, and it's the purchase of the Adams parcel. Last year, we ended up paying off the East Boston camps, which is still the largest CPA project to date in the state, at about $13.7 million, Ellen? It's about there? Okay. So currently, instead of paying for the $1.3 million all up front, what we'll do is take out about a 10-year note and pay about $170,000 or so per year over the next 10 years to pay for that new building. So the way that works is that in the operating budget article, we'll raise some money from CPA to cover the cost of that debt service, and that's the majority of what the CPA budget is in Article, is it 9, operating budget? So that's where you vote the funding each year for that debt.
Thank you, Dan. Question on my, right here, on my left.
Yes, hi, Jeff Bunyan, 3 Woods Pond Drive. I'm the athletic director at Westford Academy, but I come to you today as a resident of Westford. Just a point of clarification as well, events like this town meeting, as far as compliance go, graduation, as Mr. Antonelli said, we only have 1 functioning bathroom that does not meet the compliance. The new amenities building would also have a AED affixed to it. So for ultimate safety, for anyone using the facility outside of school hours for the community use, and it would be open 24/7 to the community for the community use. Just wanted to make sure that that was clearly identified and clearly articulated.
Okay. Over the microphone over here.
Denali Delmar, Westford Road. You know, Dunstable Road, guess I'm confused. This is a very project, and I absolutely support the project, and I absolutely am opposed to using any CPC money for it. This is a lot of money that we're talking about. We want to preserve land in this town. The reason that we have any rural character left at all is because we have been able to preserve East Boston camps and buy other parcels. So let's fund this some other way, but let's not CPC money.
Thank you. The middle.
Good morning.
Yes,
Dave Owen. Jeff Owen, 15A Pilgrim Drive.
Wait, I'm sorry. You're right in front of me here, or? So I see someone way in the back. I'm going to address them, and then I'm going to address you way in the back. I'm kind of going equivalently here, so.
Dave Earl, 8B Old Colony Drive, Westford. I'm going to go back to the point that Ellen made earlier. This clearly is a priority. It's a state mandate. The Capital Planning Committee should have taken that into consideration and put it at the top of the list, not refer it to the CPA for funding. So I would encourage the town to do this, tell the Planning Committee to go back and put it at the top of the list. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark Cost.
So from one Spartan to another, so this was at the top of our list, and the reason it's at the top of the list is because if it doesn't get funded, this place will shut down. We do not determine, the Capital Planning Committee does not determine funding. It is up to the project to go seek the funding, and the CPA or the CPC decided this was appropriate because it has funded other elements of this facility, so that's how it got funded. Happy. So once the CPC decided that it would fund it, then the town no longer in the town budget no longer had to consider it.
Way in the back, the microphone way in the back. Oh, you look at me, take it.
Jeff Owen, 15A Pilgrim Drive. Yeah, I'm curious what the implications are fiscally if we were shut down at this facility. How would we then fund the upgrade to the bathrooms to make the facility functional, and how long would that take?
Want to do that? Okay. Someone that can answer that. Jody, thank you.
Hi, Jody Ross. I'm not sure I'm going to answer that exactly, but what I guess I'd like to say is we're hearing loud and clear from town meeting today that you're not necessarily supporting these recreation-type projects, and we're hearing that. I don't think we've really heard that, at least since I've been here, as much. So I will commit that as we move forward, we will consider that as we prioritize our capital projects in the future. CPC did vote in favor of this, and traditionally, town meeting has supported what CPC recommends, but we didn't know this was going to happen today. But if this happens, this will not be funded. We can take a look at whether we could fund it in October at our town meeting, call a special town meeting. We can come back on the field and do this again this summer. But right now, we did not fund it. We didn't know how town meeting felt. So we are hearing you loud and clear now, though. So thank you. And I guess Jim Antonelli would have to speak to the financial impact of this being shut down.
Okay, Bill Olson will speak. I'd just like to remind everyone that the health department's there are people walking around with water. If anyone needs water, raise your hand. You can raise your card just if you need water so they can see you.
Just an informational point, and I understand that there's some concern, but this is one of those projects, once again, that if it is delayed, we run the risk of a significantly increasing bid. We had two bidders on this particular project. They both came within the appropriation. We run the risk of not being able to continue to construct this facility within the appropriation if we have to go back out to bid again.
Thank you, Bill. My question over here.
John Cunningham, 4 Butternut Road. Just a couple of comments. Number one, this thing should have been titled Necessities Building. Number two, it's an embarrassment to Westford when we have visiting teams come here and visiting fans, and they've got to go to porta potties or somewhere else during the game or during the game. So I think we ought to reverse this, and we should vote for it.
Thank you, John. Middle microphone.
Emily Teller, 9 Texas Road. First of all, I would like to know if it's a touchless bathroom, just going forward, which is not a big deal, but Paul Fox can answer that, I think. But secondly, with my rail trail hat on, I came here and requested $25,000 from CPA money to fund the design of that little portion in Westford from 225 to Carlisle. It wasn't a lot of money, but I know that the CPA and CPC support recreation, so there must be some kind of clarification that the town meeting can give to CPA, because recreation is important, and I know this isn't land for recreation, but it enables people to use our facilities in a way both that supports the youth and the public. So I'm still in favor of this item.
Thank you. Microphone over here.
Hi, Rob Michael, 4 Francis Hill Road. I'd like to understand how long we have been out of compliance.
Bingo. Can somebody get up and answer that? Bill Olson will answer that.
This has been, Rob, this has been out of compliance for several years now, and we're concerned that we will no longer be able to receive a waiver.
If I may add a comment in response?
You addressing me, the moderator?
Addressing the point just made by...
You addressed the moderator in the town meeting.
If the case has been that we have been out of compliance for some time, then I would like to just advocate that we defer this until the next town meeting when we can find alternative sources of funds for this project.
You do that. Middle microphone.
Madam Moderator, Alan Moyer, 69 Forest Road. First, I want to say that I'm very much in favor of supporting the schools. They've done a great job with our boys, and we do believe in supporting the schools. I'm old, so I'm very much in favor of bathrooms. That having been said, this is the wrong way to fund this. It does seem that 2 issues are coming up. Number one, we're seeing increasingly that money being spent for the schools is not going into the school budget.
We're finding all sorts of other secondary $2 or $3 million in this budget that are coming up for the schools. So let me encourage the schools and the town selectmen to put that all into the school budget. The other thing is, the fact that it's a crisis, and I recognize that it's a crisis, does not mean that we reach into CPC funds to fund it. There's that old rule about never letting a crisis go to waste. This is not the right way to spend this money, so I'm going to vote against this article. Thank you.
Okay. Way back microphone.
Mike Green, Hidden Valley Road. 2 quick questions. Is it a correct understanding if the application of CPC funds generates revenue or fees, that comes back into CPC funds? And if so, is there a way to defray the cost of this through the use fees and so forth that this facility will support?
We take the answer. Okay.
Henry Fontaine, Building Commissioner. So with the variance that's in place from the plumbing code, we're basically up against the clock on that. They gave us that variance based upon the fact that we're going to be doing the work on the building. So again, against the time clock, they could just say, well, we're going to pull it and you're going to have to start from ground zero again on it. So at that point, they can just say, we're shutting you down completely.
Madam Moderator, I'm not sure that answered my question. It was more CPC question.
Sorry, it's someone at the microphone I can't hear. It's somebody that was
Madam Moderator,
way back on the back. Thank you.
I'm not sure that answered my question. It was a CPC question.
Dan O'Donnell will answer that, please.
So no, fees cannot go back into the CPA fund. However, there can be a revolving fund established if so pleased, like the East Boston camps, which is property owned by or purchased by CPA funds. They set up a revolving fund that allows money from the camps to go back in to fix up the property and whatnot. So there's one mechanism that could be used.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Denali.
Denali Delmar, Dunstable Road. Move the question.
Okay, move the question. That means we stop discussion. We need to, do I have a second? That means we're going to stop discussion. I need a second. Okay. All those in favor of moving the question or stopping discussion, raise your orange card. Okay. All opposed? Motion passes, so we stop discussion now. All right. So now we will vote on the town, that the town appropriate. What? This vote requires 2/3. Okay, this is the second motion. This is that the town appropriate the sum of $1,344,152 from the Community Preservation Fund for the purpose of constructing a new amenities building. This is for the new bathroom. Okay, any questions? We all set? Okay. Yeah. You have a point of order? What's your point of order? Can't hear you. Please go to the microphone. I wish I could hear you, but I can't. We're going to take the vote.
Michael Vestian, 7 Adams Lane. I'm sorry if I get this wrong, but have we voted on the motion to reconsider yet?
We already voted on the motion to reconsider, and then we just had discussion on it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, now we are going to vote on the main motion, that the town appropriate the sum of $1,344,152 from the Community Preservation Fund for the purpose of constructing a new amenities building. All right, this needs a 2/3. All those in favor, please raise your cards. Okay, put your cards down. All opposed? We're going to have to ask for a count. Warden, please, and counters. You can put your cards down. Now what we're going to have you do is we're going to have you stand up when they get out into the field. We'll have you stand up for each vote, okay? Because then that way you'll all be recognized and feel counted and loved. If you're unable to stand, still raise your card, please. We'll pay attention to that. And they're still passing out water if anyone needs water. Okay, if you're in favor, please stand up. Were you just checking that we did? No, we did. No, we did. No, it's okay. Don't, that's fine. You can always double check on. Please, everyone stand that's in favor. Can I put their hands down now? Can I sit down? No, please remain standing. Thank you. You may sit down. Thank you. Okay, now, all those opposed to the sum of $1,344,152 from the community preservation, please stand up. You may sit down. Thank you. Motion fails, only passed with 62%, so motion fails. Needs a 2/3 majority, which is 66 and 2/3. We only get 60. Sure. Oh, yes, I will. Where's the paper? Mark took it away. $184 in favor and 110 against. We needed 2/3. Okay. So now we will now give out the Gordon Seavey Award.
Thank you, Madam Moderator, and I will be brief because I do want to inform you that the sprinkler system is programmed to go on at noontime today.
Good.
You know, Gordon Seavey was a nationally renowned journalist, a philanthropist, model citizen in this great town. And a number of years ago, based on his deep love and passion for education, the Gordon B. Seavey Award was established. And this award has been given annually to a person or persons who have demonstrated exemplary behavior on behalf of the Westford Public Schools or an individual within that school system. And for many years, we've given it to 1 or 2 or 3 individuals or a small committee. And this year, it's a little bit different. You know, we had one of our beloved principals involved in a very serious accident last year. And this community stepped forward with between financial help and in-kind services and help to modify Kevin Lacoste's home so that he can move back into his home and so that he can be settled in Westford again and return as of July 1st as an employee of the Westford Public Schools. And wherever I've gone over the last 34 years, I've always told people how privileged I am to work in this community because it is such a kind and caring community that always looks to help people, whether they're 3 or 103 years old. And so it is with great pride that this year I present the Gordon B. Seavey Award to the Westford caring community, all of you and all of the citizens in this town. And on behalf of you and the person who spearheaded the modifications to Kevin's house, I'd like to have Nancy Cook come up and accept this on behalf of everyone in the town. So thank you to everyone in Westford for making this happen for our beloved principal, Kevin Lacoste. Nancy, thank you very much. You want to say anything?
Thank you very much. This is proof that Westford comes together and does what's right. We needed a lot of money and a lot of hands on deck. Our police officers, our firefighters, many of you showed up with checks, with whatever you had to make this project work. We have the ability now to do the same thing with the divide in town. We can come together as one and make it work. Let's try. Thank you.
Thank you. Jody, come on up and talk to us. Thank you, Nancy.
Good afternoon. I'll back up a little. So normally I would do the state of the town now. It is on the website, and obviously I'm not going to go through it, but I want to just give you a couple of highlights. So we began the fiscal year 21 before the budget. That's why I'm talking now. We began the 21 budget in July of 19, long before we knew what would happen in this spring. And after a lot of debate and meetings, the Select Board, the Finance Committee, and the School Committee all voted in favor of the budget that we presented to you. We did send you the FinCom book back in March, anticipating our March town meeting, and then Town Hall and other public buildings closed March 13th. In May, we had several needs for money that we weren't able to talk to you about at the town meeting, and the boards do have the authority to transfer funds in the last 2 months of a fiscal year. So we brought those necessary purchases to the school or the Select Board and the Finance Committee, and they voted in favor and paid for those funds out of free cash or transfers within departments. So right now we're faced with several unknowns. We are looking at a revenue shortfall right now of $691,000 going into fiscal year 21. We're hearing rumors that state aid is going to be reduced, but we have no idea how much. And I'm hearing a positive hope on the part of the state that the federal government is going to help out to make that impact less. But we won't know until later in July or maybe mid-August. Therefore, in March, we implemented town and school hiring freezes. We implemented town and school spending freezes, except on essential items necessary to run or continue our operations. We reduced or eliminated mileage reimbursements, and we stopped conferences and meetings. We set up a COVID account with the Select Board authorization for all COVID-related expenses, and reimbursement is expected to be $2.1 million through the CARES Act and through FEMA. With the Select Board, Finance Committee, and School Committee input, we delayed all non-time sensitive capital requests to our fall town meeting. At the direction of the Select Board, we're bringing forth the original recommended fiscal year 21 budget. However, the school superintendent and school committee and the town manager, me, and our Select Board and Finance Committee have created scenarios with tiered cuts. If we have a reduction of state aid, we are ready to make those reductions. We don't need to call a town meeting to stop spending. I think that's important for you to know. And then we will, at our fall town meeting, balance the budget based on the decisions that are made. So that's basically what we're doing. I hope that answers any questions. We're going forward with what was recommended, but we have taken actions right now to reduce spending, and we're ready to reduce even further if need be. So thank you.
Thank you, Jody. Moving right along, we're going to address Article 8, approve fiscal year 2021 operating budget. I'm going to read through all of the lines. If you have a hold up your card. I'm going to be looking down, and the town clerk and town council will let me know that a card's been up, and then I'll address and write it that a hold has happened. And then once we go through all of these line items, we are going to vote on them page by page. I need a motion first. Article 8. Do I have a second? Okay. Okay. So on page 7 of 17 on your motion sheet, I'll be reading down the center where it says fiscal year 21 town meeting and FinCom recommend. I'll be reading down that center row all the way through if you'd like to follow along with the red bouncing ball. Okay. Okay. And I'll just be reading the totals to keep this brief. Okay. Selectmen total $22,123 million. Okay. Next, town manager $442,907. Finance committee $158,865. Finance department $149,265. Town accountant $329,142. Board of Assessors $342,898. Treasurer collector $314,685. Legal services $160,000. Human resources $604,554. Technology $1,069,815. Town clerk $302,924. Permitting department $310,254. So I'd like to ask that we take a vote on these two pages. Any discussion? Okay, someone's running up. Microphone way in the back. You have a question? No, okay. Okay, sir.
Madam Moderator, Alan Moyer, 69 Forest Road. I'm sorry, I did have a question on item 131, and it's just an explanation. The Finance Committee has a reserve fund, and I was wondering if someone could tell me, I don't understand what that's for, if someone could tell me what the purpose is of $150,000 for the Finance Committee reserve fund. Thank you.
Dan O'Donnell will address that.
Yes, this is a recurring item each year. If the town has an unforeseen or unexpected expense, rather than call another town meeting, they can go to the Finance Committee and request a reserve fund transfer for that emergency request.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to vote on line items on page 7 and page 8. All those in favor, please raise your orange voting card. Okay, you can put your cards down. All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, pass. Moving on to page 9. Again, the middle row. Conservation Commission, $99,747. If you have a question on anything, hold up your card. That will be for a hold if you have questions. Planning Board, $105,667,000. Okay. Zoning Board of Appeals, $2,395. Town Hall Maintenance, $114,902. Public Buildings and Properties Maintenance, $162,422. That's a total of $4,692,565. Moving down to Public Safety, $5,750,100. Public Safety for the Police Department. Thank you. Public Safety Communications, $874,481. Fire Department, $3,686,305. Building Department, $437,086. Would the person who had the hold please come up to the microphone? Okay.
Now, Delmar, I put a hold on the planning board because when we are facing fiscal difficulties, I would like to suggest that we cut there. I suggest that because I was on the planning board in the 90s, at which time we had one half-time person and one part-time consultant. And now we have an enormous planning department. And I'm sure they do a very good job. But I would really like to see us have a little bit more modest staffing in anything but the school department, because I feel like the schools are the town. The schools are what's important in this town. The schools are what we are known for, what keeps our what keeps our property values up. So I'm not going to suggest lowering it, but I am going to make a strong recommendation that when we're looking for cuts, let's look there. That's what I know about. Thank you.
Okay, you were the person that had the hold? Okay, thank you. And did you also agree with the hold?
I'm here to discuss.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Kate Hollister, 25 Vinebrook Road. I am a member of the planning board, and while I like Denali as a person, I very vehemently disagree with her on this. General town budget always plays second fiddle to the schools. It's an unpopular thing to say, I know, but it's true. And our town infrastructure is equally important. The schools take care of the intellectual future of our town, and things like the planning board, CBA, Conservation Commission, the whole building department are the major line in the sand for taking care of our physical needs of our town. So we have a lot of needs. Like our bylaws need updating. What the planning department has to do has increased greatly over the years. We need the personnel in order to keep the physical part of our town up to the snuff that our schools are in. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions regarding this hold for the planning board? No? Okay. So now we will take a vote on all of the line items except for the planning board.
Actually,
You have a point of order?
yes. I don't know if it's a point of order.
I'm sorry?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Please say your name and where you live. We're about to take a vote.
Paula Turnbull, 17 Snow Drive. I tried to put a hold on the police budget. You said to raise the card. I did. You didn't see me. So I'd like to place a hold on that and have a discussion.
Okay, thank you. All right, so moving forward, we will now take a vote on all items on page 9, except for the planning board, line 175, and the police department on line 210. Okay, we already discussed it, so now we will vote on the planning board. Everything except for the police department right now. On page 9? Okay. All those in favor of these line items? Whoa. Bless you, Kurt. You want to borrow one more? All those in favor? Page 9, raise your hand. Okay. All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, now we will go to the line item for the police department. The person who had the hold, please come back up to the microphone and ask your questions, and we'll have someone address those. Please state your name and your address again, please.
Paula Turnbull, 17 Snow Drive.
Thank you.
I think in the past weeks, many of us have voiced our support for Black Lives Matter and including police reform. I don't know if I missed it at the beginning of the meeting because I wasn't here, but I just wonder what the response is of this town.
Andrea made, the chair of the select board made quite a significant speech, and Andrea's going to come up.
I may have missed that.
Hello. At the beginning of this meeting, I read a statement from the select board, the town manager, the chief of police, the deputy chief of police, the fire chief, the school committee, and the school superintendent. We will post that statement online so folks can read it there. The select board has also committed to, at its future meetings, discussing actions to move forward and address these issues. And there is a community meeting that is being held with the Westford Police Department on July 7th. That's a virtual meeting, and that will sort of be this continuing in the kickoff of a discussion of where we go from here. So we are looking at it, we are addressing it, and it will be something that the elected boards and the select board in particular continue to address.
So is it your anticipation that it will affect this budget?
You address me, the moderator, and then I pass the question along. What's your question again?
It's just whatever is being considered, is it going to impact this budget? Is that the anticipation?
Andrea, please.
Not because I don't know what's going to be considered and I don't know what the suggestions are that are going to be coming for the community. I can't really answer that question in a vacuum. What I can say is that we will be looking at suggestions and action items that come forward, and one of the things that we'll be looking at is how we fund those actions if they need funding and where that funding will come forward. But for the budget that is before this town meeting today, no, those items right now, we don't know, so they won't have an impact.
Thank you.
Thank you. I see one more question way in the back. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. There's someone over here at the microphone. Thank you.
John Fercucci, 115 Cold Spring Road. I just wanted to ask, it sounded like from the previous conversation that we can approve a budget but not spend all the money in that budget. So if we do approve the police department budget, and there are decisions made over the course of the year not to fund certain aspects, can that happen?
Jody Ross, town manager, will answer
on
that.
Those aspects, I should say.
Thank you, Jody.
So the Board of Selectmen can direct us not to spend money if they choose to do so. But if it really depends on what the direction is, if it's creating new positions, then that comes to town meeting, so that could be done in the fall. I don't know if that answers. We can reduce spending, but you're voting the budget, which is the salaries and the expenses to run the police department. If I have direction to spend less, we will do so. If I have direction to create different types of jobs, that will come back to the next town meeting.
I'd also like to point out that Westford Cat, our local wonderful TV station, is recording this town meeting, so since some of you may have missed it, you'll be able to see it there. Thank you very much, Westford Cat. Okay, one other question at the back microphone.
Thank you. Stephanie Granger, 3 Churchill Court, Westford. And in transparency, I'm on the Board of Health. I am not going to oppose the budget as proposed right now.
Are you speaking as a private citizen or as a member of the Board of Health?
As a private citizen.
Thank you.
But I think given the things that we as a people have been learning and contemplating over the last several weeks, I would strongly encourage us to revisit things in the fall and consider where some of our funding is going. The health department is losing a position in this budget, and I think that these are important issues that we absolutely need to consider moving forward.
This is about the police department.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. One more question at the back.
Hi, Angela Harkness, 15 Castle Road. I think what people are trying to say is that there's not necessarily an objection to the police budget, but that we should perhaps be looking, in view of what's happened recently and what's been going on for centuries, at a possible reallocation of how those funds are spent, whether they're spent on training or additional non-police personnel to assist in addressing certain issues that might arise. And hopefully that's in keeping with the statement that was made by the Board of Selectmen and the other groups at the beginning of the meeting, how these funds are allocated within that budget that we're probably about to approve, I think is going to be something we should look at.
Thank you. Okay. Any further discussion? Over here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Microphone over here, to my right.
Hi. Richard Magri, 3204 Princeton Way. I wanted to support this young lady in front of me by moving the question and agreeing that the woman who also asked to hold on the police department budget would draw her hold as a point of order. She's been answered. That question has been answered, asked and answered.
Okay. We moved the question, means we don't have any further discussion. So we need to take a vote on that. Need a second? All in favor of moving the question and stopping discussion on this, please raise your card. Okay, thank you. You can put your cards down. All opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Okay, so now we will vote on the police department budget of $5,750,100. All those in favor, please raise your orange voting card. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Now put your cards down. Now all opposed. Okay. Passes unanimously. Thank you. No? Someone was opposed? Oh, way over. Okay, under the shade. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, 1. So passes for majority. Okay, moving on to page 10. Okay. Okay. Stormwater management, $0. Recycling, $723,812. I skipped the page. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yes. Right. There we go. Page 10. Thank you. Sealer weights and measures, $3,000. Emergency management, $11,590. Animal control, $52,075. Tree warden, $37,265, and that's it. Under total public safety, $10,851,902. Moving down to education, Westford Public Schools, $61,241,359. Neshoba, did I hear a hold on that? Okay. Okay. Yes, Neshoba, okay, moving, Westford Public Schools, it was a hold. Neshoba Tech, $1,078,168. Under Public Works, the Department of Public Works, $308,304. Engineering Department, $221,671. Highway Department, $2,575,722. Okay, we'll take a vote on all those that were not a hold on. The only one that there was a hold was line item 300 for Westford Public Schools. We'll take a vote. All those in favor, raise your orange card. Put your cards down, thank you. All opposed? Motion passes majority, thank you. Okay, now we will go back to for the person who raised the hold, if they would stand up and address their question. State your name and where you live, please.
Judith Culver, 34 Stone Ridge Road. Recently, the school committee announced that they will be starting a search for a new superintendent in July. My question is, how much is that going to cost? Because it was not in the budget as far as I can see. So give me an idea, please.
Thank you. Let's see. Who can answer? Avery, can you answer that question for us? Thank you. Avery Adams, Chair of the School Committee, will answer that. I don't care. I like that.
Hi, thanks. No, we did not budget for that. The budget was created in October, and we will be conducting a search. We have not contracted with any firm at this time. We do have an estimated $10,000 from MASC, which presumably is the least expensive, and private firms can run $20,000, $30,000, and $40,000.
Is there another question?
Well, it's not a question. It's so much as 15,000 or 10,000 estimate. You know it's going to go a lot more than that because there's travel involved. But in the past, school committee has done a search for a superintendent, paying a firm to do it. Each of those superintendents lasted about 2 years. So I'm just making a point that we need to look internally first before you go out and hire a firm to do it for us.
The search would include internal candidates, and I feel a position as superintendent deserves a full search, including internal candidates.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone have any further questions? Denali?
Denali Delmar, Dunstable Road. I think because of the uncertainty of the times with the pandemic, with fiscal insecurities, that we should hold on to Bill Olson absolutely as long as he is willing, able to serve us.
Out of order, I'm sorry.
Why?
Because we're voting on the budget.
I know, and I'm talking about saving money.
This is about, you're talking about personnel issues.
I'm talking about saving money.
You're out of order, please.
I don't think I am I?
Yes. Yes. We can't discuss personnel issues. Question over here.
Jeannie Hall, 41 Bose Hill Road. Just, I know the budget was put together back in October. Now, in light of COVID, all the remote learning, et cetera, and if this is to continue into the fall, what are the plans then to, I'm expecting the school budget's going to need to increase, not decrease, and perhaps more than the 2.7% increase that's been allotted. Where is that money going to come from? Because I'm looking at some of these things. Do we need to do perhaps a hold on some of these other things then?
Thank you. Bill Olson will address that.
That's an excellent question. We were just on a statewide call with the Commissioner of Education yesterday, and it is entirely possible that costs to school systems will increase due to the variable nature of learning that will take place in the fall. The Commissioner is expected to come out sometime in the next couple of weeks in terms of whether or not we will have a fully remote education system again, or fully back in school, or a hybrid. And we're all really desperately waiting for information so we can plan accordingly. We have a 40-member team right now that I assembled in the area of teaching and learning, operations, hygiene and safety protocols, and social emotional well-being of students and staff. And we are meeting throughout the summer to make sure we can plan appropriately. What we don't know just yet is what his plan will be, and if there is a price tag associated with that. We're hoping there is not. And we think we've planned sufficiently, but at this point in time, what the Commissioner of Education has said to all of us is you're going to have to learn to live with uncertainty. And unfortunately, that's what we're living with right now, but I think we've planned responsibly. We are planning throughout the summer, and it is my hope that we will not be back before any of you for additional monies. It's just that I can't guarantee anything at this point in time.
Thank you, Mr. Olson.
Avery will also add something to that.
Will be passed Monday night. Resolution.
Yes.
So I just wanted to add that the school committee did pass a resolution this past Monday night to ask that the state consider funding not to give us unfunded mandates in regards to the COVID, and so that has gone to the governor and all legislature appropriate from our school committee as well as school committees across the Commonwealth.
Thank you, Avery. Senator, microphone.
Eileen Tatro, 15 Oak Road. My pronouns are she and her, and I move to call the question.
Okay, call the question. That means we stop discussion on this. We need a majority vote. Do I have a second? All's in favor of moving the question, Ms. Bean, we stop discussion, raise your cards. All opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Now we're going on to the voting of the school budget. So $61,241,359 for Westford Public Schools. All in favor, please raise your orange card. Okay, you can put your hands down. All opposed? Motion carries. Majority. Okay. Okay, now we move on to page 11. Now we go on to stormwater management. Okay. Okay. Top of page 11, middle column, stormwater management, $0. Under recycling, $723,812. Solid waste, $1,271,405. Wastewater treatment management, $238,648. Cemetery department, $133,590. Continuing down to Health and Human Services, the Board of Health, $448,584. Council on Aging, $548,588. Veteran Services, $157,738. Were there any holds on anything that we didn't see? Did anybody have any holds? Somebody whistling? Okay, hold in the back. Please come up and address, name and address. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. This is kind of a different venue for us.
Jeff Castor, 110 Providence Road.
Thank you.
A hold on the Board of Health, please.
Line item 510?
Yes.
On the Board of Health, okay. Any other holds on anything else? Please go to a microphone. Okay, hearing no other holds, we're going to take the vote on all the line items except for that Board of Health. All's in favor? Please hold up your orange cards. Okay, all opposed? Okay, motion passes. Okay, okay, so now your Board of Health question, and we will address that. And once we do, then we will take a vote on it. So what's your question, please?
So again, Jeff Castor, 110 Providence Road.
Thank you.
Just essentially a comment, I guess. Is reducing the Board of Health budget in the middle of a pandemic a good idea?
Say that again. Is what?
Is reducing the Board of Health budget in the middle of a pandemic a good idea for the town?
Let's see, Jody Ross will address that. Thank you.
When we developed the budget, there were many requests that we were not able to fund. My recollection is it was about $1 million in town budget requests that were not funded. This reduction was the substance abuse person who was a part-time person retired, and so we did not fill that position. So it's really not related to the pandemic directly. We will look at things moving forward, but there is a hiring freeze on now anyway and a spending freeze, so we'll take a look at it when we see what state revenues come in at.
Thank you, Jody. Does anybody else have any questions or comments about the Board of Health? Seeing none, we will take a vote. All those in favor, please raise your orange voting card. Okay, put your arms down. All opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Now we move on to page 12. Center column, under Culture and Recreation, the library, $1,744,971. Parks and Grounds, $287,600. Land Management, $42,200. Historic Commission, $11,800. Moving down to debt service. Debt service, $6,076,950. Okay, under underclassified, otherwise unclassified, it's a negative $1,396,048. Want to hold on that? Okay. Employee benefits and miscellaneous, $18,908,310. Transfers to and from trusts, $1,218,957. Okay. So we'll vote on all of those that did not have a hold. There was only one hold on the unclassified, otherwise unclassified expenses. So taking the vote, all those in favor of these budget items, raise your card, your orange voting card. Okay, you can put your arm down. All opposed? Okay, motion passes. Now we go back to the person who got up and asked that we have a hold on the unclassified, otherwise unclassified, negative $1,396,048. Okay.
Paul Fossbender, Texas Road. What is this? Why is it changing by 47%, and why is it negative?
Okay, Dan O'Donnell will address that.
I believe I get this question every year. So this is the direct and indirect costs for the enterprise accounts. It's basically all the health insurance, retirement assessment, and all things related, portions of some staff salary to pay for payroll, administration. It's increasing this year because we have the stormwater enterprise budget coming on, which we'll review on the next page.
Thank you. And
it's negative because it's offsetting the 945 budget. So we pay all the health insurance and retirement account out of this 945 budget, and this is to offset it. So this is a negative in the 940 line item, and then each expense budget for the enterprise, again, has an amount charged back, $200,000 to $300,000, whatever their actual costs are within that operating budget.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, any further questions? Seeing none, we'll take the vote on otherwise unclassified, negative $1,396,048. All those in favor, please raise your orange card. Put your arms down. All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, off to page 13. I think that's it. Oh, where'd that last page? Last page. Okay, page 13. Community Preservation Fund. $807,327. Water Enterprise, $4,667,342. Recreation Enterprise, $1,407,253. Did I hear a hold on that? For recreation? Okay. Okay, Ambulance Enterprise, $1,362,078. Stormwater Enterprise Fund under Stormwater Management, $1,250,138. Is that a hold? Okay. Okay, so we have two holds, one for Recreation Enterprise and one for Stormwater Enterprise. Were there any other holds? Hearing none, we will now take a vote on the line items that did not have a hold on them. All those in favor of those line items, please raise your orange card. Put your arms down. All opposed? Passes. Okay. Now will the person who had a hold on, who asked for a hold on the Recreation Enterprise, please address us and we'll answer your question.
Again, Jeannie Hall, 41 Bose Hill Road. I just want to understand what's in the Recreation Enterprise Fund. I'm just wondering, is that where the WA field thing should have come under?
Dan O'Donnell.
No, the WA field is not in that recreation fund. Anything here is funded through the school budget. What's in the fund is like the after-school program, the WPC, the summer programming, and any adult and youth programming. Expenses for those.
So it shouldn't have come under
Questions
that?
are directed at me?
Okay, should it come under their moderator?
Okay, you can answer
The
that?
WA field enhancement?
Thank you, Dan.
So the recreation enterprise it's like a business within our government here. So, you know, they wouldn't be running programs on this field per se. So if it's not a community preservation expense, it's more than likely a general fund expense.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Hearing no other questions, we'll take the vote on Recreation Enterprise Fund. All those in favor, raise your orange voting card. Okay, put your card down. All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay. Our next item is the stormwater management. The person who asked for the hold, please come to the microphone.
Bob Carter, 8 Netting Road. I think the Stormwater Enterprise Fund sets a dangerous precedent to move things outside the tax base. This has been a contentious issue. I really think this should not be an enterprise fund. I would like to make a motion to reduce all these budget line items to 0. Do I have a second?
Is there a second? Okay, motion and a second. Now we'll have a discussion on this. You have to put it in writing. Do you have a pad?
Jody Ross, Town Manager. So I'm sure many of you remember that the Board of Selectmen spent most of last year talking about stormwater, and we did go to a couple of town meetings. The fall town meeting did approve establishing an enterprise fund, and the fees that were approved by the Board of Selectmen, the bills will be going out soon. This is basically, the DEP is requiring us to do more to protect our water in town, and we have been budgeting about $600,000, give or take, for stormwater expenses, but we need to add more to comply with the DEP requirements. So there's plenty on our website about this, and if you want to get into specifics, I do have Paul Starrett here, our engineer, and Steve Cronin, our water superintendent, or Christine Collins, our tax collector treasurer. But this was approved by the last town meeting, and we're ready to go to comply to keep our water safe.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
Sorry, I just thought of something else. My brain's a little fried. But if we don't comply, then the DEP can come in and the EPA and force us to comply under an administrative consent order, and typically that costs far more. So I just want to make sure you understand that too. Thank you. Including fines.
Okay, so we have a motion to reduce all stormwater enterprise funds to 0. Do you have a second? Okay. Any discussion? Okay, this is an amendment we'll be making. All those in favor of sorry, okay.
James Muma, Kyle Moore Drive. I was at the last meeting, and I believe this is an unfunded federal mandate. Am I correct on that, Jody? I'm just wondering what, if anything, other towns are doing about this. I mean, it's nice to know that our federal government is concerned with our water quality.
Jody?
But are other towns saying, oh my God, in the middle of everything else, we're going to do this?
Other towns are establishing fees or budgeting in other ways for this. I believe that a few that have not have been fined and are under administrative consent order. So this is a requirement. I do think it's important to understand that it is to keep our water safe, so we need to sweep our streets more often. We need to clean our culverts more often, things like that. If you want more specifics, Paul can speak to that, but towns are complying.
Thank you.
Anyone else have a question or a discussion or a point? I think I see. Are you walking up to the microphone? Thank you. Middle microphone, please. Thank you.
Yes, Michelle Martin, Meadow Lane. Can you clarify the purpose of the fee? I thought this was supposed to be funded from that. Why is it in the main budget?
Dan O'Donnell will address that, the Director of Finances.
So on page 7 of the motions, it lists all these funding sources from water enterprise, recreation enterprise, ambulance, et cetera. So the last one on there is stormwater enterprise. We'll be funding $650,138 from stormwater enterprise revenue, and $600,000 shall be raised and appropriated, which means general fund.
But this is 1.2
You have a question for me, the moderator?
I'm
Thank you.
sorry. To further clarification, please. Shouldn't this be 600,000 then? Or
Jim?
it's the sum of the two, I guess is what you're telling me.
It's the sum of the two, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions?
May I speak to this? Now that the motion's on the
Say
floor?
that your name and address again, please.
Robert Carter, 8 Nutting Road. Again, this has been a very contentious issue. I'm opposed to this being an enterprise fund, and at this point, the only way we can move this back into the tax base is reject the budget on this. In the past, I understand the budget allotment for stormwater management has been about $600,000. $1.2 million is far in excess of the baseline that is needed. And to send a signal here, I would urge people to vote this to zero. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes.
Is there a question? Yep.
Yeah, I originally stood because of a point of order that I wanted to hear the gentleman's reason for making the motion. Well, so as I understand, he's looking for this to be $0. So my question would be, what happens with the new taxes that are being levied on us? How are you going to collect them, and where are you going to put them if this goes to zero for the enterprise fund? If I understand it, we're shifting the tax burden onto the taxpayers further and further for more money. So I'm trying to understand where you're going to put it if this passes.
Look at Nancy. Jody, please.
So this motion is to reduce the amount in the warrant, the spending. The enterprise fund was already voted by a prior town meeting, so that does exist. If you vote this down to zero, the selectmen still did vote to issue a fee, and that fee is still collectible. So you're basically going to stop any of the town functioning that you've been doing all along in terms of street sweeping, things like that, if you vote the budget to zero, and then the fee will be collected and it will go into the enterprise fund.
Thank you, Jody. Okay. Hearing no further questions, the amendment to reduce all stormwater enterprise funds to zero. All those in favor, please raise your orange voting card. 1, 2, okay, 3. Okay. All opposed, raise up your card. Motion fails. Thank you. Okay. Now we go back to the main motion. Okay. Stormwater Enterprise Fund, $1,250,138.
Moderator?
Yeah.
I'll speak.
Where's someone? I'm sorry. Which microphone am I? Oh, way back there. Thank you. Your name and address?
Crystal Sue, 9 Chicory Road.
Thank you.
Yes, related to stormwater management fund. I'm reading the annual report from last year, and there's Article 8 said it's regarding the creating a stormwater management enterprise fund. It was voted and failed for lack of majority. Could you explain that?
Jody Ross, town manager, will address that.
Yes, that was the annual town meeting last year, and really the education of the public had not.
So it's a moot point. So.
Well, other than the fact that we didn't do it correctly.
Noted. Thank you. Okay, any further questions? Okay, okay, over here, this microphone on the left.
Dennis Galvin, 90 Concord Road. I just wanted to clarify a statement that the town manager made about the approval. She's correct. There were 2 votes. There was one in the last fall's town meeting. Excuse me, the last annual town meeting. This measure failed. Then again, it came back on the fall annual town meeting, but the town meeting didn't really make a vote on this particular issue. The Board of Selectmen informed everybody about what happened, but they retained the sole authority to be able to impose the fee. And I think that's a very significant thing for people to bear in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. What? Nothing to say? Okay. Okay, so now we'll vote on the Stormwater Enterprise Fund for $1,250,138. All those in favor, please raise your orange card. Put your cards down, please. All opposed? Motion passes majority. Thank you. Okay, so now we'll go back to page 7. Okay. Fund 100, okay, Fund 100, the general fund. I'll go through these. If you have a hold on any of these where it says Fund 100 general fund, $50,000. These are the appropriations that support everything we just voted on. So I'll just go through these and then we vote on them. Okay. Okay, first line, general fund, $50,000. Line 2, general fund, Fund 100, general fund, $11,701.86. Community Preservation Fund, $807,327. Town revolving funds, $3,000. Water Enterprise Fund, $4,344,250. Recreation Enterprise Fund, $1,285,100. And then Recreation Enterprise Revenue, $75,000. Recreation Enterprise Retained Earnings, $47,153. Did I miss something? Okay, and Ambulance Enterprise Fund, $875,000. Ambulance Enterprise Review Revenue, $50,000. Ambulance Enterprise Retained Earnings, $437,078. Stormwater Enterprise Fund, $650,138. And Stormwater Enterprise Revenue, $600,000. And then at the very top, to raise and appropriate the sum of $120,880,934 for the operation and maintenance of town departments for the fiscal year July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. Seeing no holds, we'll take a vote. All those in favor, please raise your orange cards. Okay, put them down. All opposed? Okay. Motion passes unanimously. And also, Deanne, do we have to? No, all set. Okay. Sorry? It was not unanimous? Passed with a majority. Thank you. Okay. Seeing that we have conducted all of our business, may I have a motion to adjourn? No? Someone's getting up.
We haven't discussed Article 17, the acceptance of Jenny Richards Road.
That was under the consent agenda. Any further questions? Okay. Have it passed earlier. Having completed our business here this afternoon, or this morning, we have a motion to adjourn this annual town meeting. Is there a second? All those in favor, hold up your orange card. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Woo-hoo. We made history today.